I'm Mason. I'm 32. I live in upstate New York, and for the last decade, I considered myself an expert outdoorsman. I know the sound of a foraging bear. I know the scream of a bobcat. I know the difference between wind and a footstep. I thought I knew the woods. I was wrong. What I saw 3 days ago in the High Peaks wilderness wasn't an animal. It wasn't a man. If I stop typing, my hands start shaking so badly I can't hold a glass of water.
It started as a solo dispersed camping trip near Dick's Mountain. I wanted rugged isolation. I parked my truck at the trailhead around 6 a.m. intending to hike 8 miles off trail. The hike in was perfect until dusk. I was sitting by a small fire when the woods went silent. Not quiet, but silent. The world held its breath. Then came the smell. It drifted up from the valley floor on a sudden updraft. Wet dog, stagnant pond water, and something distinctly metallic. Old, dried copper blood.
I stood up, knife in hand. "Hey! Anyone out there?" My voice was instantly swallowed by the trees. The smell vanished as quickly as it came. I forced myself to eat and crawl into my tent, but I didn't sleep. I kept hearing a soft swish, swish against the nylon, like fabric rubbing fabric.
Day 2. When I stepped out, I saw the marks. 20 feet from my campsite, near a massive hemlock, the moss was torn up. Not digging, but gouges. 3 distinct parallel lines, 2 feet long and inches deep. I placed my hand next to them. The span between the claws was at least 10 inches. Big, angry black bear, I rationalized. But black bear claws are blunt. These cuts were razor thin, surgical. I should have left. Instead, I let pride keep me there. I spent the day exploring the ridge. About a mile down, the atmosphere changed. The trees blocked the sky. The temperature dropped 10 degrees. I found the deer in a clearing, a decent-sized buck lying on its side. It was not eaten. The skin was flayed in long, precise ribbons, exposing the muscle underneath. Its throat had been torn out, but not chewed, just removed. The carcass was completely pale, drained white. There was no blood on the ground.
I backed away, gagging on the wet, metallic stench. I knew I was being watched. I scrambled back up the ridge, no longer caring about noise. It was too late to hike out safely. I decided to stay one more night, keep a fire going, and leave at first light. I built the fire high. I sat on the log, knife in one hand, bear spray on the log next to me. Night fell like a hammer. The darkness was absolute. Around 11 p.m., the fire was dying down. I leaned forward to throw another log on. Snap! It came from directly behind me, within 10 feet.
I spun, scattering sparks, and swept the beam of my high-lumen flashlight across the tree line. "Get out of here!" I roared. The beam cut through the darkness. Trees, bushes, rocks. Then 2 points of light. Reflective eyes. They were white, like 2 full moons. And they were too high, about 6 feet off the ground. Too high for a wolf, too high for a bear. The creature blinked. One eye, then the other. Then it stepped into the periphery of the beam. I stopped breathing. It was humanoid, terrifyingly thin, emaciated. I could see the vertebrae pressing against its skin. The skin was gray, slick, almost translucent, like the belly of a dead fish. It was completely hairless. It was crouched on 2 legs that looked inverted at the knee. Its arms were impossibly long, hanging down past its knees, ending in hands that were just claws, long, black, curved daggers. It stood there, leaning against a birch tree, watching me.
It didn't look aggressive. It looked curious. "What are you?" I whispered. The thing cocked its head, a twitchy, unnatural movement. It opened its mouth. No lips, just a dark, gaping maw filled with needle-like teeth. And then it spoke. It wasn't a voice. It sounded like dry leaves skittering on pavement, a high-pitched, wheezing rasp. "Yes, wake."
I dropped the flashlight. The darkness rushed back in. I scrambled backward, frantically groping for the light. I found it and swung the beam back up. Empty space. The birch tree stood alone. The creature was gone. I didn't pack. I didn't put out the fire. I grabbed my car keys, knife, and flashlight and ran. I ran through the pitch-black woods, branches whipping my face. I heard it pacing me, a heavy, wet thump, thump, thump of quadrupedal running. It was toying with me. I slid down a ravine, hitting the icy creek bottom. As I scrambled up the other side, I heard the sound that will haunt me. A scream that sounded like a human trying to scream while drowning. A gurgling, high-pitched shriek that echoed off the mountains. It was right behind me. I didn't look back. I sprinted until I hit the main trail, and then I ran until I saw the reflection of my truck's taillights in the parking lot. I fumbled the keys, dropping them twice. I could hear the rustling in the brush. Scratch, scratch. I threw myself inside, locked the door, and jammed the key in the ignition. I threw on the high beams. There, standing in the middle of the parking lot, right in front of my bumper, was the Rake. It was fully illuminated. Its eyes were hollow pits. Its rib cage expanded and contracted rapidly. It raised one of those long clawed hands and placed it gently on the hood of my truck. It tapped the glass, tink, tink, tink. Then it smiled, a wide, impossible grin that stretched too far across its face. I slammed the truck into reverse, spun the wheel, and floored it. The creature was thrown off the hood, and I shot out of the parking lot. I drove straight to the nearest town. I couldn't tell the police. I told them a bear chased me off the site. I drove home. I live on the second floor of an apartment complex now. Last night, around 3 a.m., I heard it. Faint but distinct. Tink, tink, tink. Against the glass of my bedroom window. I grabbed my gun and ran into the room. The window was empty, but there, on the outside of the glass, in the condensation, was a single long streak of grayish slime and 3 long scratches etched into the glass. It knows where I am. It followed me. Update. The power just went out in my building. I can hear something in the ventilation ducts. It sounds like wet leather sliding on metal. Scratch, scratch. It's inside. God help me.